Yo, welcome to this month's newsletter. I wanted to start out with a little story or a little example, I should say, just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea about how to kind of understand mobility, training, and just training in general. So imagine this is your first time going to a place. Like, let's say it's a club, or let's say it's the first day of school at a new school or a new job, whatever the space may be. You don't know anyone in this space, right? You walk in and immediately you get nervous and you walk right out. You're like, I don't want to be in this place. I'm uncomfortable. You only went in for a brief second. You saw a bunch of people, you got flustered, and you decided to just bolt, dip out. Well, you didn't give yourself an opportunity to actually experience the place. So let's say you decide to go to the place and you spend 10 minutes there. You spent more time there. You start to notice things. You start to notice the people. You start to see what people are wearing. You start to, notice the pictures on the wall. And you walk out and I ask you, what do you see in there? And you might describe a few things to me. You'd be like, yeah, I saw this picture on the wall. I saw this one person. Or I saw this one. She was kind of cute, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you start to build a mental map. Your nervous system, your brain starts to build a mental map of the place that you're in. Now, let's say that you go in that place and you spend 30 minutes there. Now, chances are, if you spend 30 minutes in the place, you're going to come out with a lot more information about that place, right? Now, if you only go in there once and you spend 10 minutes or you spend 30 minutes or whatever the case is, and then a week goes by and I ask you to recount what you saw in that place, well, after 10 minutes, you probably wouldn't be able to recollect what was in there. 30 minutes, you might have more information you'd be able to recount to me after a week. Now, let's say that we increase the frequency by which you went into that place. Let's say you went in daily. You spent 10 minutes a day inside that space. You spent 20 minutes a day inside that space. You spend 30 minutes a day inside that space. Now we've increased the frequency by which you've gone into the place. So we can increase the frequency and we can increase the duration. So those two things are going to change the way in which you perceive that place. And the more time you spend in that place, the more times you go to that place and the more time you spend each time in that place, the more you're going to have a better idea of the place, the more comfortable you're going to be with the place. You're going to be like, I know where the bathroom is. I know, where I need to, go to find the water fountain or fountain water. I need to know where so-and-so's desk is, or let's say it's a club, where the bar is, where this bartender is, where that place is. Like you're going to start to understand a lot more about the space and the environment that you're in. Now let's take that to your body. Oftentimes, we spend very little time doing majority of the things we want our bodies to do. So let's take a squat, for example. Now, a lot of people don't do squats. Okay, so if this is your first time doing squats, I ask you to do squats. You're like, I've had clients in the past to be like, I just feel uncomfortable with squats. I don't feel like, well, how often do you do squats? Well, when I did it this one time, I didn't feel, well, if you're not frequently doing squats, then you're going to feel uncomfortable doing them. And I think sometimes we don't realize that there's a variety of different types of squats that you can also do. So it doesn't have to be a barbell squat to get benefits that you want out of a squat. Now, let's say that we're talking about the specific movement of the squat. And we talk about the fact that you go down to whatever depth you feel comfortable and you squat to that depth and you pop right back out. So going back to that analogy about the place that you go to, the place that you go to in that squat, you spend very little time at that depth. And since you spend very little time at that depth, you know very little about that space. So in that space, oftentimes, you're not your strongest. You're not your most comfortable. You don't enjoy or like being in that space. And so because we don't spend enough time in those spaces of the movement, oftentimes we don't feel comfortable in that space and we don't feel strong there. So one of the things that we try to do with regards to mobility training is get you in spaces that are uncomfortable and have you spend the time there for a longer duration. The importance of spending time there and getting to know that space and then loading that space is tremendous. It's very important for you to not only spend time in the space, but to actually load the space. And that's one of the key components of what we do with regards to mobility training. And then we bring that back to the action, back to the movement. And we say, now we want to train the movement that includes that space that you've now spent a little bit more time being involved with. I mean, imagine this was your first day ever going to a weightlifting, class or having a coach or whatever the case was. And the coach said, all right, now we're going to throw 300 pounds on the barbell. And I want you to squat max effort. This is your first time ever squatting. You're in a totally unfamiliar place. Like, you've never been to this place. And now this person is like, yo, we're about to put 300 pounds on. Like, you've never even been close to that place, right? Like, you never got out the car. You drove by the place, but you never got out the car, walked up to the front door even and like peeped in there. You were just like, all right, we're loading it up. Let's go. Now, if I were to do that with somebody, that would be extremely reckless. You have to think of your training in this way. Your training should involve familiarizing yourself with the space, training near a space, building capacity in those spaces. And so we build depth and we build breadth of knowledge and awareness of this space. And we can be stronger, we can be more confident, and we can get more out of the training that we do. Now, this was the way I wanted to start this newsletter, because I think over the past few months, I've kind of converted to doing these talking newsletters, and most of it's been kind of telling you what happened last month and what happened this month. But I wanted to start it out with a little bit of an analogy just to give you kind of an understanding of how we should start to look at our training. Last month, we did a bunch on Zone 2, which I really do a lot of Zone 2 training. If you're not doing Zone 2 training, you should definitely be doing Zone 2 training. You should be building your capacity and building your breadth. So I use that word with regards to our strength training. Well, Zone 2 training is just another form of strength training, right? We're training our endurance muscles. So we're training our heart muscle, which, as you know, has endurance and strength. I think too often we focus on the strength component and we forget about the endurance component of our heart. It's important that our heart be able to bring in enough blood so that when it forces out blood, we can get more blood to the places it needs. Also, Zone 2, when we're building that endurance, we build more capillaries and blood vessels. And building more capillaries and blood vessels is just going to give you more blood to a variety of different spaces in your tissues. And so overall, as a health metric, Zone 2 training is going to be great for you. It doesn't contribute heavily to your VO2 max, but it does have some contributions as I laid out in those articles. You should go back and check out those articles. It's a 3-part series. If you missed it last month, you should definitely go check it out. And I've included in it a 12-week Zone 2 VO2 Max training program, which there's a link in there. It'll take you to my website, and there you can cop it. It's really inexpensive. Turns out to be like $2, $1.50, $2 a week for the program. Of course, you just pay it in one sum, but that's what it kind of shakes out to for a 12-week program, and then you own it. It's a PDF, so you can just kind of recycle it, keep it going, and build your VO2 Max and Zone 2 base. Just get yourself healthier. This month we started out talking about the knees a bit. We did a knee mobility snack. I just posted a knee mobility snack on this past Monday, and so hopefully you had a chance to check that out. That's for my paid subscribers. But we're going to talk a little bit more about knees. We're going to talk a little bit more about a variety of things this month, but I just wanted to tap in with you guys and let me know in the comments what you want to hear more about and what you want to experience more. I'm looking to do some more steel mace work, also some animal flow, ground-based movements, and potentially thinking of just putting in some general like outdoor, very little weights strength training programs or strength training workouts videos that I can share with you guys. So let me know in the comments below what you would like to see, and I'll jump on that for you. You can find those Zone 2 articles just below in the rest of this article. Thanks for watching.